All right, I'd like to welcome everybody here to meeting number 469 of Grand Falls-Windsor Town Council. And before we get into the regular order of business, there's a few things to take care of. One is, I guess, if you haven't joined us for a while, Mike Pinson hasn't changed his look. We've got a new town manager in Jeff Saunders, and Jeff certainly no stranger to Chamber or to town as the former Director of Engineering, now our town manager. So I'd just like to formally congratulate Jeff on the promotion, very well deserved, and welcome to my right side. Okay, we'll move on now. We got a couple of proclamations to take care of. The first one is National Teen Driver Safety Week, October 16th to the 22nd. Whereas driving is an important and exciting rite of passage for youth, it is also one of the riskiest activities for youth to become engaged in. Whereas teen driver safety is a significant issue in Canada, young drivers are overrepresented in all road-related injuries and fatalities. Whereas National Teen Driver Safety Week is a week dedicated to raising awareness and seeking solutions to preventable teen deaths on the road across Canada. Everyone has a role to play in creating change amongst their peers, in classrooms, and in their communities. Therefore, I, Barry Manuel of Grand Falls-Windsor, do hereby proclaim the third full week of October as National Teen Driver Safety Week. Now we have a second proclamation. Before I read that, I'm going to ask our guests here in Chamber if they would file up here to join us behind me. And you'll notice behind me we got a different backdrop tonight. It's not our Town of Grand Falls-Windsor backdrop, but rather our nice cadet backdrop. It is National Cadet Week, and I'm pleased to have members from each of our divisions of cadets in Grand Falls-Windsor joining us this evening. The Sea Cadets, the Air Cadets, and the Army Cadets are all on hand. And just want to thank you guys for coming out for this. And obviously, we really appreciate and recognize the effort that the cadets put forward. We know it's a fantastic program. I guess we also know that the cadet numbers across Canada are reducing, and that's a bit concerning for us. So I'd like to take this opportunity to invite anybody out there, parents of kids, friends, if you have a young person who's looking for something to do that's very rewarding and an awesome program to get involved in and maybe lead to something full-time in your future, then the cadets is certainly a good way to go. And I'm sure any of these gentlemen here would be more than willing to help anybody who needed more information. Anywhere in particular that we may be able to get more information on cadets?
Everybody got a Facebook page.
Yep.
Ages 12 to 18. And all of our phone numbers are in the book.
All the phone numbers in the book, and check out the Facebook page, which would be called Grand Falls-Windsor Cadets.
Nope, I guess everybody got separate.
Everybody got their separate, eh? Okay. Well, I'm sure it's a small enough town they'd find someone involved, right? So I'll go ahead now and read the proclamation. And again, this week is Cadet Week. We actually raised the flag outside the town hall earlier today in recognition of this week. The proclamation says, whereas Canada and its youth have been well served by the cadet organizations since 1879, and whereas the cadet organizations in Newfoundland and Labrador have operated successfully in many communities since 1949. And whereas the cadet organizations give youth the opportunities to develop citizenship, leadership, and healthy lifestyle. Therefore, be it resolved that the week of October the 2nd to October the 8th, 2016 shall be declared Cadet Week in Grand Falls-Windsor, Newfoundland. And therefore, all citizens are encouraged to celebrate this special week by conducting celebrations and activities throughout the community. And this is signed the day, October the 4th, in Grand Falls-Windsor, Newfoundland and Labrador in the year 2016. And I'll gladly sign this into the record. And actually, this is the biggest proclamation I've seen so far. Very impressive. And we've also got 4 here, 1 for each unit and 1 for the town to keep as well. Well, there you have it. I'd just like to, again, on behalf of council and the town, thank you for coming this evening and keep up the good work. Craig? Good job. Thanks for coming out. Power? Nicholas, buddy? And Scott. Thank you guys for coming out, and you know that the town is here to support you whenever you need, and keep up the great work. So thanks again for coming out.
Thank you.
I'll let you take these. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you, Lois. Good luck this year. Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Craig. We'll give the cadets a chance to continue marching out of the chamber. Okay, with that, we'll officially open meeting number 469. First order of business is the adoption of minutes from meeting number 468. Any errors or omissions? Councillor Cody Davis.
The minute reads that Cohen is the 4th name from the approved list of 6 names, and that Lindahl and Pitcher are the next names to be used. Actually, Cohen is the 3rd name. The 4th name should be Chow, and then 6 and 7 are Lindahl and Pitcher respectively.
Okay, thanks for that. And that change will be put into the record. Any other errors or omissions? Okay, and looking for a motion to accept the minutes. Councillor Cody Davis, seconder, Councillor Bartlett. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carried. Any business arising out of the minutes? No business arising? For sure, yeah. Perfect. Or other business if you happen to miss something you want to bring up, yeah. Okay, we'll move right along to the disbursement report. Councillor Pinsent.
Report of $451,634.73 be adopted.
It's been moved by Councillor Pinsent and seconded by Councillor Moores. Any discussion on the disbursement report? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Committee reports. Parks, Recreation, and Special Events. Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Mayor Manuel. Parks and Recreation and Special Events met on 4:30 Tuesday, September 20th, 2016. Council members present, myself as chair, Councillor Tom Pinson, Councillor Amy Cody Davis, Councillor Peggy Bartlett, and Deputy Mayor Darren Finn. Staff present, Keith Antle, Director of Parks and Recreation. First order of business, Mr. Mayor, was the Red Shoe Walk correspondence. The committee discussed correspondence from the Ronald McDonald House Group requesting the town's support for their Red Shoe Crew Walk on September 24th. The committee recommended to approve this request to provide them with a barbecue and popcorn. Andrews Crescent Community Garden site visit. The Director of Parks and Recreation and the Recreation Committee Chair met with a homeowner on Andrews Crescent to discuss a possible community garden in the green belt behind the houses on Andrews Crescent. The committee recommends we meet with the existing community garden group to discuss their plans for expansion before we make a decision on a second community garden, and then report back to the committee. Canvas mural proposal. The committee discussed the proposal from Canvas to paint murals on the side of the Parks and Recreation Depot on Centennial Field. The committee recommends the Director of Parks and Recreation contact Canvas and get an exact cost of materials and labor and report back to the committee. Red Maple Festival. The Director of Parks and Recreation presented the committee with the updated Red Maple Festival schedule. The committee recommends the Director finalize the schedule for the next Parks and Recreation Committee meeting. The committee also asked any community group who would like to be involved in this year's festival to contact the Parks and Recreation Department office. Midwinter Beaver update. The Director of Parks and Recreation informed the committee of the ongoing plans for this year's Beaver, which includes some special draw prizes to help boost the registration numbers. It was also noted that the snowmobile ride in Gander is scheduled for the same weekend as the Beaver, which is a change for them, as they were always a week later than the Beaver. The committee recommends staff check the availability of hotels, chefs, and entertainment to see if it is possible to shift the Beaver to the weekend before February 10th to 12th, 2017. Hometown Hockey Update. The Director of Parks and Recreation informed the committee of the plans for the Hometown Hockey event scheduled for October 29th and 30th. The two-day outdoor hockey festival will take place on High Street and include many interactive games and activities for all ages, culminating in an outdoor viewing party of the NHL game New York Islanders versus Toronto Maple Leafs with Ron McLean and Tara Sloan hosting live on-site from the Sportsnet mobile station on High Street. The committee recommends staff continue the planning for this event and report back to the committee as more details become available. Vending machine price increase. The Director of Parks and Recreation presented the committee with proposed price increases for our vending machines in both our stadiums, as the profit margins are very low at the present price structure. The committee recommends we increase the prices, but for the Director of Parks and Recreation to work with the Director of Finance to review our profit margins and increase the prices accordingly. Director's report. The Director of Parks and Recreation presented a full list of events, activities, and programs the department organized in the last few weeks, as well as upcoming events being planned. The committee recommends staff continue with the planning and implementation of these new events and activities. Softball tournament correspondence. The committee discussed correspondence from a resident on Main Street about alcohol consumption during the softball tournament on the weekend of September 17th and 18th. The committee recommends the Director of Parks and Recreation review our alcohol policies for our facilities and ensure we provide the appropriate policing for such events through our municipal enforcement officers and Parks and Recreation staff. The committee also recommends the Town Manager, Clerk, and Director of Parks and Recreation meet with the town's legal representatives to get details of our liabilities during events that involve alcohol. Bonfire night. The Director of Parks and Recreation presented the committee with the idea of moving the town bonfire from Centennial Field parking lot to the Raycliffe Rocks site. There are several concerns with the Centennial Field site, including the nails left in the parking lot after the bonfire and the lack of control of banned items being put into the pile during the week prior to the fire. The committee recommends to move the bonfire to the Raycliffe Rocks site for this year's event. Lost me way here, page missing or?
Just the adjournment left, Councillor Brown, at 7:30.
Oh, okay, that page missing, apologies. The meeting adjourned to 7:30, and I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Okay,
Mayor?
it's been moved by Councillor Brown. Second by Councillor Moores. Any discussion on the Parks, Recreation, Special Events? Councillor Brown.
Go over a couple of things, Mr. Mayor. Starting with the hometown hockey, just to let the people know out there that this is a huge event scheduled for October 29th and 30th down on High Street. October 29th from 12 to 6 and Sunday, October 30th from 12 to 11 is a big two-day outdoor hockey festival as discussed. Lots of celebrities here, including NHL alumni, Ron McLean, Tara Sloan, and the like. There will be live bands, free food and refreshments, and free interactive games and giveaways. And everyone of all ages are welcome. There seems to be a lot of talk about it even from neighboring communities, Mr. Mayor. And we anticipate a very large crowd for this event. Importantly, like most town events, I guess, there's free admission. And of course, the live broadcast of the NHL game that night between the New York Islanders and the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the live between period hosted by Ron McLean and Tara Sloan from High Street. And also on that weekend, two Cataract games, the Cataracts versus Gander Saturday at 7:30 and Sunday at 1:30. So it should be a great weekend, Mr. Mayor, for all who want to attend, and something to see. Most of us have watched hometown hockey on Sunday nights, and it's certainly a great event and something that I know our citizens from this town and neighboring towns will take advantage of seeing. Also, Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to go back from in the minutes for the softball tournament correspondence. There was a complaint with respect to beer gardens and the way they were operated, but I think through our Director of Parks and Recreation and our Town Manager, Jeff, that we will ensure that the rules governing liquor licenses for any event within our town will be strictly adhered to from this day forward. So I just wanted to mention those two things, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you, Councilor Brown. I guess just to add on to the Rogers hometown hockey in the minutes, maybe we might want to put a little edit in there, because it is Rogers hometown hockey, and our friends at Rogers deserve that recognition, and Rogers obviously a big sponsor of that event. So I just wanted to point that out. And I was talking to a friend of mine today from St. John's who happened to drop by the town hall, and one of the things that came up in discussion is the fact that Rogers hometown hockey was going to be here. And he mentioned he's from St. John's, and he said that a couple of years ago they had the celebration of Rogers hometown hockey at Kitty Vitty. And he said, what a spectacle. What a spot to go, a celebration, not only of hockey, but culture and all the kids, the things to do, the simulators. You can go in and shoot pucks at NHL goalies. You can try to save pucks from NHL players. You can try to call a goal yourself as a broadcaster. You can try to decide on a disputed goal. There's just endless things, and along with the entertainment and that. So I'm glad you brought that up, Councilor Brown. That's the last weekend of this month, and certainly our department will be in touch with some of the stakeholders locally in terms of businesses and that in the area that may be impacted, so that we can work with them to make sure that the impact is minimal. Any other discussion, debate otherwise? Deputy Mayor Finn.
Mr. Mayor, it's with respect to Redcliffe Rocks, the bonfire is being obviously held at with the site that we call Redcliffe Rocks, but there was also some, in our discussion, part of the discussion was the fact that we have this field that we call Redcliffe Rocks, which is not Redcliffe. So I think we had some understanding that we would revisit that at some point in the future in terms of what we would the naming of that field. It's not reflected in the minutes, and I'm not sure if we actually had consensus on it, but it was a comment that I think that has validity, that, you know, you don't have two streets in your town named the same name, so it's really wrong to have two Redcliffes. And so it's, I suggest it's something we revisit at initially at maybe a Parks and Recreation Committee or another appropriate committee.
Yeah, I think that's a valid point, and we certainly wouldn't want people to get confused that the venue is the Redcliffe Rock site, which is behind the Armor Transport Building and next to our dog park. And there'll be people, our staff will be up there a couple of days in advance there as a checkpoint, as people are dropping things off for the fire, as they usually do, to make sure that things are permissible and not things that are not supposed to be burned in bonfires. And certainly a better location for our bonfire, and we hope, as usual, to see a big crowd. Any other, Councilor Bartlett?
Mr. Mayor, regarding the softball tournament correspondence regarding the alcohol policy, I'm not sure if it is on our website, but if the Director of Parks and Rec could ensure that the current policy is there, if somebody wishes to look it up or review it or see what it is at any time.
Sure,
Okay?
yeah.
Not sure because it's not in the.
If it's not, we can make sure that it is.
I would assume a lot of those policies are, if they're with the public.
Yeah, I would be surprised if
Okay.
it isn't. I don't know if the director knows whether it is for sure or not, or, yes, yeah,
Policy section, not specifically for Parks and Rec.
No, but
right,
that would be there probably, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, okay, thank you.
We can certainly check that during the
yeah,
meeting.
we'll check it just to make sure
Yeah.
that it is there.
website, just to, because they're the ones that govern liquor licenses throughout the province. So maybe our Director of Parks and Recreation can check that and make sure that the policy's on there.
Yeah, one of the things we hope to do in the near future, of course, as discussed, was to meet with the various user groups of those facilities, in particular the softball facility on Main Street. So that would be a message we would want to give to them, and so that they're doing their part, because obviously we do not condone the excessive drinking or drinking and driving. Certainly that can occur, and you know, there are rules in place, and we expect them to be adhered to. If there's a license, there's rules, and they should be followed. So we'll certainly follow up on that. Any other discussion, comment on the Parks Recreation Special Events minutes? Okay, hearing none, we've got a mover and a seconder, so all those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Public Works and Planning, Councillor Cody Davis.
Thank you, Mayor. Public Works and Planning met on Thursday, September 22nd at 4:30 p.m. In attendance, myself as Chair, Deputy Mayor Darren Finn, Councillor Bruce Moores, Mayor Barry Manuel, Councillor Mike Brown, Councillor Tom Pinsent, staff Jeff Saunders, Town Manager Clerk, and Nelson Chapman, Director of Engineering and Works. Correspondence, Grenfell Heights Extension from Sir Al Farrell. Mr. Farrell questioned who was responsible for Grenfell Heights Extension and if there could be upgrading completed. This section of roadway requires upgrading. Only a portion of the road is within the town's boundary from the intersection of New Bay Road to the transmission line crossing. Staff has written the Regional Director of Transportation and Works to complete some maintenance along this section. The committee recommends writing the Minister of Transportation and Works and request a complete rehabilitation of this roadway, at which point the town would take responsibility moving forward. Permit policy, procedure, double billing. The committee discussed concerns raised by staff of residents carrying out work on their property without appropriate permits. Several years ago, consideration was given to charging double the permit fee for anyone commencing work without a permit. The committee reviewed the drafted policy and recommends it be discussed at the next Committee of the Whole meeting. Signage application 328 Grenfell Heights. The committee reviewed the Highway Sign Regulations 1999 under the Urban and Rural Planning Act with respect to a signage application at 328 Grenfell Heights to front on the Trans-Canada Highway. The area of the proposed sign is within the control lines of the highway. The applicant must make the appropriate application to the Government Service Center. The committee also recommends staff revise town regulations to ensure these signs front on municipal roads. Development request for Queensway, Dion Party. The committee reviewed a proposal by Mr. Party to complete a development for seniors' cottages at 40 Queensway at the corner of Tulette Drive and Queensway. The committee recommends that staff request additional information from Mr. Party on his proposed plans. The current proposal does not meet regulations. The committee is open to rezoning this parcel of land if it can meet the regulations for the proposed development. Property inspection, 419 Grenfell Heights. The committee reviewed the inspection report on 419 Grenfell Heights owned by Mr. Gesso. The committee recommends staff contact the homeowner to request cleanup of the property. Carmelite Road land. Further to previous discussions on possible development of two separate properties at this area, there is an issue with the existing pole line and cost to relocate. It is possible to acquire a portion of one lot at approximately 80 by 118 for a single-family home. The committee recommends that this land be advertised for sale with a minimum purchase price of $625 per foot frontage plus HST survey and legal fees. 55 Harmsworth Drive drainage issues. The committee reviewed survey of a land ditch in question at the rear of 55 to 57 Harmsworth Drive. The existing ditch is already lower than the adjacent properties. The committee recommends staff meet with the residents and discuss the current conditions and propose lowering some high points of the ditch. Canada Post shelters. Staff contacted Transcontinental to inquire if they can place their flyer bins within the shelters to help control litter. This way, residents would only take flyers if they want them. Transcontinental is a competitor of Canada Post, and flyers being delivered to mailboxes are not the same as those placed by Transcontinental. The committee recommends that garbage bins be removed and staff monitor the area of concern. We may consider removing shelters at a later date in line with other larger municipalities in Newfoundland and Labrador. Brown Avenue Crosswalk. The committee reviewed the request for a crosswalk to be placed across Brown Avenue at the intersection of Finn Avenue. This is to facilitate students crossing the street and also to help serve the large residential area. The committee recommends that this crosswalk be installed with the appropriate signage. Interfaith Cemetery. The committee discussed correspondence from Ms. Stanley requesting upgrades at the Interfaith Cemetery adjacent to the Trans-Canada Highway. This cemetery is not owned or maintained by the town, but rather by the churches in the area. The committee recommends that staff invite the Interfaith Cemetery Committee to the next Public Works and Planning Committee meeting for a discussion on possible upgrades on the grounds. It is important to get perspective from all denominations that utilize the cemetery. Correspondence from Robert Golding. The committee acknowledges Mr. Golding's request to meet with council to discuss the retaining wall between the properties of 29 and 31 Harmsworth Drive and requested him to meet at the next Public Works and Planning Committee meeting. Dan Penny, Commercial Development. In negotiating the commercial subdivision agreement with Mr. Penny, he requested that a requirement in Section 15D of the agreement be changed to 5 years for commencement of building construction rather than 1 year. Commercial planning is more detailed than residential and therefore requires additional time to complete. This does not mean that some development can and will be completed within the 1 year, but the developer felt it was restrictive to the 1 year. The committee recommends that this request be granted, but to include in the agreement that there will be no transfer of the deed until construction has commenced. Our meeting adjourned at 7:15 p.m., and I move the recommendations and the report of this committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Cody Davis and seconded by Councillor Brown. Any discussion or comment? Councillor Bartlett.
Mr. Mayor, under the correspondence, Grenfell Heights Extension, I think Councillor Cody Davis said the last sentence should have read, the town could take responsibility moving forward. Instead of would, I think when she said would, that was just an error in looking at it. So I just wanted to clarify it for the minutes.
Yes, the minutes do say the town could take responsibility moving forward, and the proposal to Transportation and Works Minister Hawkins is that we would like to take responsibility for this if they do the necessary upgrades now.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion or comment on the Public Works minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Committee of the Whole, Deputy Mayor Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Committee of the Whole met at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, September 27th. Present were Councillor Amy Cody Davis, Councillor Bruce Morris, Councillor Mike Brown, Councillor Tom Pinson, Councillor Peggy Bartlett, staff Jeff Saunders, Town Manager, Nelson Chapman, Director of Engineering and Works, Keith Antle, Director of Parks and Recreation, Barry Griffin, Director of Finance, and of course I was there as chairperson. First topic, Gorge Park limits. The committee discussed the limits along the Exploits River that will be referred to as Gorge Park. There has been several names used in the past that refer to sections or areas along the riverfront. The committee recommends that Gorge Park to be used to name the area along the Exploits River from the boat launch in the east to the western planning area boundary near North Angle Brook to the west. Mini home subdivision. Staff identified 9 areas that were large enough to accommodate a mini home subdivision. Several of these are restrictive for various reasons. The committee recommends that staff follow up with more information on site number 1, near Blackmore Street, site number 9 off Grenfell Heights, and site number 7 off Maloney Street. Numbers 1 and 9 are preferred and are private developments. Warhol Investments, Lincoln Road, the Club 63 property. Staff updated the committee on a meeting with Mr. McCann referring to Warhol Investments about the possible development of the former Club 63 Lincoln Road area. 2 houses have been demolished and residents are wondering what is happening in this area. Staff did discuss an overall plan for the area with Mr. McCann, but there are still numerous issues that need to be resolved. Also, staff are not yet clear on the development plan and asked Mr. McCann to submit a plan so we can discuss and determine whether it fits with the present zoning regulations. Ballard update. The committee discussed a camp setup on Maloney Street. Ballard are looking for some additional lands for parking, laydown, and cable work. The committee recommends staff follow up with Ballard on the total land requirements for Maloney Street. Tennis clubhouse. The Director of Parks and Recreation informed Council on the poor condition of the old tennis clubhouse. It is no longer in use. The committee recommends the building be demolished. Permit policy, double billing. The committee discussed the policy regarding double billing for residents commencing work without a permit in place and recommends it not be implemented at this time. Permit policy, taxation, collections taxation permit. The committee revisited the policy recently recommended and accepted regarding collection, taxation, and permits and recommends it be rescinded and not be followed at this time. Midwinter Bivouac. The committee asked the staff to check the availability of venue, hotel, chefs, and entertainment for the Midwinter Bivouac for an alternate weekend due to conflict with another similar event. The meeting adjourned at 8 p.m. and Mr. Mayor, I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Deputy Mayor Finn. Looking for a seconder. Councillor Morris. Any discussion on the committee to hold minutes? Councillor Bartlett.
Permit policy, collection taxation permit. So will that go to the next Public Works meeting? Committee of the whole meeting? Like I must have missed why we weren't going to pursue that one. Because in the minutes it doesn't say why.
Can you answer that, Deputy Mayor Finn?
I can attempt to.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're right.
It's not a trick
I
question.
I think the call may have cut off
Yeah.
for you at that point. But there was no consensus that we refer to another committee at this time. Only that there was so many outstanding questions in discussion among councillors and among staff that we didn't feel that the policy was thought well enough through to address all of the concerns. So we decided that it's better to park it until we had more confidence in policy that was being put forward. So that's the best I can answer at this time. However, like any issue that gets set aside, if a councillor wishes to bring it forward for further discussion sooner, then you certainly can raise it, and I would suggest would vet back through a finance committee would probably be the appropriate committee for further discussion.
That's what I was going to say, or any point there? Is that
Yeah.
good? Councillor Bartlett?
You're right. I probably missed that last part. For me, I'd just like to know why, and the rationale and that sort of thing. So you're right. Table it for another finance meeting and just.
Yeah. As Deputy Mayor
Yeah,
Finn said, we can
perfect.
certainly discuss it
Yeah,
again.
thank
No
you.
problem.
Yeah.
I won't get into the whole discussion because I didn't record all of the different concerns, but a concern such as because it's about allowing a permit for any type of work to go forward to somebody that may owe the town a balance of taxes for some account. And so on the surface you say, well, no, you can't proceed unless you're in full and complete standing with the town. But there may be certain circumstances when that's not appropriate, and it may be the reason why a balance is outstanding may need to be worked out. The policy would need to address the nuances of for instance, if I could say, if there was a hardship case, someone needed to get their roof shingled, but owe the balance to the town, and we can say, no, you can't shingle your roof. But you need to shingle your roof, but you owe a small balance to the town, say $50 to your radically. You owe, but they can't pay it, but need to shingle their roof. So, while all councillors certainly would respect the notion that you should be paid in good standing with the town, like all levels of government, the policy needs to address situations that we would have flexibility to deal with situations, and be totally transparent.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not cut and dry, as we all know. So that's and there's some other things that I'm not capturing it on the
I think it was
on the
also
slide.
felt that there was a possibility that it could lead to some people who choose not to pursue their permit because, you know, they're in arrears, and instead of paying their $100 or $200 for their minor repair, then they've got to pay $1,200 to get this done. So they say, well, you know, maybe I won't get the permit, and that was a concern. And there's no reason not to do what we're suggesting, and I do think further discussion is warranted, and we can do so at
I like the
appropriate
words, I
committee.
like the words flexibility and working with somebody, because you're right, but sorry, when I read that, I didn't understand. So,
Yeah.
thanks.
Okay. Any other discussion, comment, Councillor Morris?
I'd just like Deputy Mayor Finn to explain the ownership of the land that we're leasing on Maloney Street, because some people think that they got this big section of land bought, so maybe we can get an explanation and explain it to the citizens.
If you want, you can defer that to the town manager, Deputy Mayor, or you can handle it yourself, your choice.
I'm going to give it a try. Since, yeah,
Yeah.
Bruce Councillor Morris is up to something. And I've never heard the concern, whether or not people are wondering whether or not the land is sold. The land is totally leased, and I believe the lease is for $15,000 per month for up to 10 acres of use at the moment, and they have a minimum of a 6-month commitment to us, but we believe that will go on to at least 12 months and maybe longer. But it's totally a lease, and Ballard will move their camp along as they progress along in their cutting off the transmission line. I don't know if there's anything else I would need to add for that.
No, I think that covers it. I mean, they're very pleased with the setup. You know, they haven't been in municipalities. Mostly they're out in the bush where they got all kinds of issues ongoing. So they're very pleased with the site. So hopefully they will stay a little longer. As you said, it is a significant lease that we're getting on a monthly basis.
Absolutely.
And the end of the lease, I believe, is just very clean. And once they cease their work here and their last month payment is received, then the lease is essentially over.
And originally
So there's
it was discussed as a 6-month lease, but the actual lease agreement says that is for 8 months. It
Okay.
starts middle of August to the middle of April, and then it's a month. So they have to pay. If they moved out in 6 months, they still owe us 8 months lease. So we've got it for a full 8 months anyway. And then beyond that, it's on a month-to-month basis.
Yeah.
And when they leave, the site will be cleaned and leveled, and the only thing that we had to do was we had to provide them water and sewer.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, Councillor Morris? Yeah. Any other discussion, or Councillor Brown?
In town, maybe the town manager could ask, how many workers are Villard employing that will be in this area for the 8
camp
months?
itself is sized for approximately 150, but they have said they will have about 250 persons in this region, so they will be in rentals or hotels and that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Sounds good. So it should be a significant boost to the local economy.
Oh,
Yes,
for
and
sure.
And the companies also said that they do promote expanding locally on product that they need to acquire. So,
Okay. Any other discussion on the Public Works minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor? All right, contrary minded? Pardon me? Oh, Committee of the Whole, pardon me. I said Public Works, yeah. So again, all those in favor of the Committee of the Whole minutes? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Finance and Administration, Councillor Pinsent.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Finance Administration Committee met at 4:30 PM on Tuesday, September 27th. Present was myself as chairman, Councilors Bartlett, Councilors Moores, Amy Cota Davis, Councilor Mike Brown, staff in attendance, Jeff Sanders, Town Manager Clerk, and Barry Griffin, Director of Finance. Labor report. The committee reviewed the labor costs as of week 38. Total labor was $2,394,161. This was $70,371, or 2.9% under budget. The committee recommends that staff continue to monitor labor cost. Cash collections. The committee reviewed the taxation receivable report as of August 31st. The total taxes outstanding as of that year are $2,590,873, a decrease of $33,732 from the previous year. The committee reviewed collection activities and recommended that staff continue to pursue all tax arrears. ADD, ADHD request. The committee reviewed a request to fund a proposed ADD, ADHD seminar. The committee recommended that the request be denied as funding for these types of events are outside council's mandate. It is noted that activities such as this will be done in partnership with health services. 2015 Mercer evaluation. The committee reviewed the 2015 pension plan valuation. As of December 31st, 2015, total plan assets are $8.9 million. Total liabilities are $9.9 million, resulting in a funding deficit of $1.9 million. As required by pension legislation, our annual pension payment is forecasted to increase from our current payment of $421,700 to $545,600, an increase of $123,900. This will impact our 2016 revised budget and 2017 budget. Revised budget. The Director of Finance advised the committee that preparation for the revised budget is underway and will be reviewed in October. The committee recommends that staff continue this review and prepare a schedule for the 2017 preparation. Disbursement report. The committee reviewed the disbursement report for October 4th and recommends it be forwarded to the next council agenda. Tax recovery plan. The committee reviewed the tax recovery plan for December 31st, 2015 as required under the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador Community Sustainability Partnership. The committee recommends that this be adopted and the appropriate resolution be presented at the next council meeting. The meeting adjourned at 7 p.m. and I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Pinsent. Looking for a seconder. Councillor Brown. Any discussion on the finance minutes? Yeah. Councillor Bartlett.
Just the comment is regarding the Mercer evaluation, and I make it to the mayor, of course, because that's where I had to direct the comments to. Coming from a business background, of course, I did voice my concern that this $1.9 million, the funding deficit for the pension plan, is a large deficit for a town this size, and I'm glad to know that the chair and the councillors recognize that, and we just will have to look forward in the fall, and as we do our budget and as we do our planning, to look at the liabilities and how you manage it, because we're no different, I guess, than other towns out there who are going through the same thing. But I think to be fiscally responsible and to do it the right way, we have to, focus on how do we manage this deficit, how do we, it has to be paid by somehow and somewhere. We just can't keep passing it off to future councils and to future groups, right? So it's something that is serious, and we take our responsibility seriously. So I'm glad to know that we will be looking at it hopefully in the fall. And I don't know if you have any comment or...
I think we've been managing that for some time and we'll continue to do so. And as you alluded to, we're certainly not alone in the whole pension deficit situation. And I'd venture to say we're actually in better shape than some other communities when you look at the numbers. That doesn't mean it's not serious and it's not worth our attention, and I'm sure that we'll continue to manage it and look at it closely as time goes on. I don't know if the Director of Finance had any comment on that, or?
No, it's a debt, not unlike any other debt. The issue has been that the pension plan deficit has been growing, and that's certainly not the direction that you want it to go in, and there's a variety of factors which have contributed to that, but going forward, we have to manage it as a debt, and at some point, objective is that the plan becomes de-risked, so to speak, so that when the assets equal the liabilities, you switch to a low-risk type of investment and are insulated from further losses.
And with regards to that minute, also to the director, it just says a $1.9 million deficit, which I believe is correct, but the numbers don't add up, so I'm assuming its assets should be 8 million, not 8.9? 8.0, okay, so we can correct that in the minutes as well. Any other discussion, comment on the finance minutes? Deputy Mayor Finn.
Just with respect, because council has, well, in addition to being regularly updated on the pension plan, we've had a number of discussions, I think at least probably 4 separate discussions in the past 5 months, you know, so like, and with respect to a deficit of 1.9 million, it would appear to be a large amount on the surface, and it is a lot of money, but when it comes to defined benefit plans, it is in the range of acceptable. As a matter of fact, in our reports from Mercer, there's nothing there that tells us that there's anything wrong or alarming that we need to do something extraordinary. As a matter of fact, I think part of our plan this year, and I'm totally going off recall now because I didn't take the file with me, is we have a lump sum payment of $270,000 that would be paid on that this year, and the defined benefit plan is a closed plan too. So like there are no new members that are entering the plan. So the factors that would cause it to grow really are only market issues, and you know it's the mortality rates of the members that are in the plan. You know, it sounds morbid, but that's the reality of those plans. So pardon me? Future wage increases as well. Thank you, Mr. Director. So there are layers of variables that are into it, but most importantly, why I chose to stand up and speak on it is that I feel that the defined benefit plan is being managed well, and while it's 1.9 million, you know, and our reviews are now yearly, that you know, I feel that that's a manageable amount, and you have to think that that's not an amount that's owed in 1 year. That's an amount that's owed over the lifetime of every member that's in the plan. So, you know, that's an amount that conceivably could be for 50 years. Those like a balance that's reviewed over a year and would reduce over time as members leave the plan for whatever reason. So I consider it, based on information I've gotten, and I believe all of you have gotten the same information, I'm not concerned, but I recognize what it is, and I support the special payments, all of the things that are laid out by the pension administrator. I'm trying to look, Director of Finance, what's the Department of, the Superintendent of Pensions, of which our plan is governed under. And so are all defined benefit plans. So I just wanted to say that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And yeah, in talking about the defined pension closeout, it's important to note too that you know, some credit deserves to go to former councils and staff for the foresight to close that out when they did. I believe it was back in 2006, if memory serves me correct, that the plan was closed out, and after that point there was no new members, and if it weren't closed out at that time, certainly the deficit would be much greater now. So thanks for those comments. Any other comments on the finance minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor? Contrary-minded? Motion carried. Councillor Pinsent, the resolution that you referred to in the minutes, you have a copy there?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tax recovery plan for Grand Falls-Windsor, Town of Grand Falls-Windsor. Whereas the province of Newfoundland and Labrador has announced a new community sustainable partnership to provide new sources of revenues and partial rebate of provincial portion of the harmonized sales tax. And whereas to be eligible for this funding, the province of Newfoundland and Labrador requires additional accountability measures to be implemented, including the annual submission of taxes receivable summary and tax recovery plan. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Grand Falls, Windsor adopt the tax recovery plan as attached for approval and submission to the province of Newfoundland and Labrador.
Okay, it's been proposed by Councillor Pinson, seconded by Councillor Morris. Any discussion or comment on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? So moved. Notice of motion. Any notices of motion? Hearing none, moving right along. We move into other business, and this time it's Deputy Mayor, you're first up.
Just a couple of items. One is I had an opportunity this past weekend to attend the opening of Ardex at the Arts and Culture Center, the Gordon Pincer Center for the Arts. And, on the evening I was there, it was the first evening, so there was a group of people assembled, all artists who were interested in displaying their artworks, and others that are there just to learn, to explore the field of visual arts. The event was co-chaired by Nellie Wall and I think Joanne Mack. I think that's correct. And it was, I understand it to have been a successful weekend of workshops. I had the privilege of seeing a presentation on Andrew Danson's photography at the beginning of before the opening ceremonies occurred. And during the opening ceremonies, Michael Pittman had a presentation of his own visual arts using light. So it was all impressive photography, and Michael Pittman's work is just very impressive. I was totally impressed by their organization and the work that they do. You know, it's so important to our community that we have a healthy arts community. And so I brought, obviously, our congratulations as a council to them, and encourage them to continue in their work and to recognize them for how important they are in our community in that work they carry out. So I just want to say that I've done that this past weekend. And the other thing I wanted to say, Mr. Mayor, is obviously it's Cadets Week, is it?
Correct.
Cadets Week. And you know, you can't say enough about the cadets in terms of the people that I know are involved. They just are, in terms of the parents, and parents mostly, and the kids, you can just see it in their expressions, how pleased they are with how well the cadets are run, all three corps, and how much exposure that organization gives to kids to develop leadership skills and knowledge generally. So you can't say enough good about the cadets, but it caused me to think about an interesting experience I had years ago when I lived in Halifax, attending St. Mary's University. The Halifax Tattoo used to be run in Halifax at the Metro Centre. I'm not sure if it still goes on or not. And so the regular force officers came to St. Mary's, and they wanted to use our residence for the summer. Most of the students are out anyway, so they do lease the residence. So the director of housing was there, and he was telling the officers, you know, about the rules of the Riot Act, right? And having all these kids coming in here tearing up the residence as if they could do it any worse than we did. But nevertheless, he said, you know, no drinking and no loud music really in the middle of the city, you know, you can't. And you know, the rules of the cafeteria, and the director was saying, listening to all these rules that are coming out, right? And he ended off and he said to the director, he said, do you have any problem with any of these rules? You know, you're going to fill up our building, right? He said, no. He said, well, you got to remember, sir. He said, we protect democracy. In other words, they only protect it, but they don't follow it. So those rules are no problem. But so you have to appreciate the military and the cadet movement, certainly. So I just wanted to say that. And I also wanted to end up by congratulating our new town manager on his first meeting, fine job, as a left-hand man to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Finn. Councillor Cody Davis.
Thank you. A few items this evening. I wanted to start off with Enlow is hosting a Drivers for Growth, a women's economic forum. They're going to be held across Newfoundland and Labrador. There will be events in St. John's, Carbonear, and Gander. So if you are a woman in business and you are interested in attending those sessions, you can contact Betsy Saunders at Enlow, and it's bsaunders@nlow.org, or you can visit the Enlow website, nlowe.org, for more information. The Queen Street Dinner Theatre, Christmas Dinner Theatre, Jingle All the Way, which will be held on December 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Tickets will go on sale on Monday, October the 17th. I would encourage you to get your tickets early because this event sells out very quickly, as it is only a 4-night run. You can buy your tickets online at queenstreetdinnertheatre.com, or you can contact the Legion and make your reservations on, over the telephone, or you can go into the Legion and make your reservations. Tickets go on sale October 17th. The show dates are December 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. A reminder that the food bank is in desperate need of donations, so I know a lot of the children are bringing donations into school for their Thanksgiving food bank drive. So I would encourage people who can to please send in an item to the schools. Also, the grocery stores also have food bank bins that you could deposit items into. I know Dominion even has a little basket at the checkout, and you can pick an item from the basket, purchase it, and then it will be added directly to the food bank basket as well. So I would encourage people to please donate what you can to the food bank, and not just for Thanksgiving, but this is a year-round need. So please continue to donate to make sure that the shelves do stay fully stocked and the people who are in need do get the help that they need. There will be regular garbage collection on Monday, October the 10th. That is a holiday for a lot of people. However, it is not a holiday for town staff, so if your normal garbage collection is on Mondays, then your garbage will be collected that day, October the 10th. A reminder of the Seniors Fair, which is happening Thursday, this Thursday at the Joe Byrne Memorial Stadium. That'll start at 10 o'clock and run until 3. There's a bunch of vendors there, great vendors, and lots of great information. The first 350 people into the fair will get a free anniversary, 25th anniversary Town of Grand Falls-Windsor canvas bag. There is free tea and coffee sponsored by Tim Hortons, and we also have muffins available as well. There's a book exchange. They have all kinds of different booths set up there, different vendors, everything from I think optometry to nutritionists, seniors clubs, different quilting, craft activities, things like that. So this is the 5th annual, and it's always very well attended. It's at the Joe Byrne this year again, and I would encourage you to certainly get out and take advantage of that. If you're not a senior, you can certainly still go check it out, or bring a senior with you for sure. And the last item that I wanted to touch on tonight is about the roundabout. Construction has been progressing very well. We are on schedule. As a matter of fact, because the weather is scheduled to be so well this weekend, they are going to be paving on Saturday and Sunday. And because of the equipment that will be in the area, there will be heavy equipment, trucks, rollers for the pavement. flags people, crew, all there. So it is necessary that that area be closed on Saturday and Sunday from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. Please find an alternate route if you have to go up in that area, the Grenfell Heights area or the Hardy Scott area. Find an alternate route to get where you need to go for Saturday and Sunday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Please, if you do go in that area, pay attention to the signage, pay attention to the flags people. They will be redirecting you. Hopefully this will all be over this weekend, and the roundabout will be open to the public. And then what we will do, and we will be having some more discussion on this, but we had talked about if people are unsure about driving the roundabout, we can and most likely will be setting up times where our MEOs will be in the area of the roundabout and will teach you and show you how to properly maneuver through the roundabout. So again, I encourage everybody to read the pamphlet that was sent out a week or two ago, that was sent to each household. Read it, read the rules and the regulations, what to do in the event of you encountering an emergency vehicle and various other things. Pay attention to the crosswalks, the speed signs, and most importantly, stay to the right. And if you have any questions, there's information on our town Facebook page, and you can always contact the town office if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cody Davis. Councillor Morse.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to let our citizens know that the Farmers Ball is the week after next. If anybody wants any tickets, it's the 25th, 26th, 27th annual ball for the fire department. If you want to come and support them, I'm sure there's tickets available. Just give the fire hall a call. Also, Mr. Mayor, I want to note that our refugee family is in town. They've moved into their apartment. They're adjusting well. If you want to have a conversation with them, just take your iPhone with you and Google Translation, and you can have a fine conversation by telephone with them. It's a great invention, and the family are using it well. They're settled in pretty good. The kids are gone to school, and they're really enjoying the school. So, Mr. Mayor, I'm suggesting to the committee and maybe to you that we bring them in next meeting and introduce them to the citizens right here on the air, so that we can let people see them and talk to them, and they know they're starting to get used to our hellos and and that kind of thing. Welcome.
The old mill knot?
They're moving along, I must say. And they're a great family, and we're having lots of fun with them. So that's it for me, Mr. Mayor, and thank you very much.
It's good to hear that they're getting adjusted and getting settled, and we're glad that
Fantastic.
they're doing. And again, good job to you and the committee for raising the money necessary in short order and getting them in town and settled away. So I was glad to hear, and we look forward. I think it's a great idea to have them here at Chamber. Councillor Bartlett.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to echo what Councillor Finn had said about the cadets. The display behind you says fun, challenge, and friends, but it's also about discipline. It's also about fun, learning. It's about role modeling. And as teenagers, it takes in the male and the female. A lot of people in our town don't realize that we have air cadets. They think we have Army cadets or Sea cadets, but they don't realize that we have an air cadet squadron, or a group, I should say, not a squadron. But also there's a big thing that a lot of teenagers, when they get in high school and they realize they want to apply for university or they want to apply to a discipline like physiotherapy or medicine or nursing or whatever, and they're all scrambling to do community time or to do different things within the community so they can put it on their reference, there is nothing better than putting something such as being active in the cadets and all that it brings with you. And when somebody has that as a reference in their background reference letter, it just speaks volumes of the discipline that you can tolerate, the discipline, the teamwork, the leadership, the whole thing. So I would highly recommend to any parents that are out there, if you want to get your kids into something and you want to get them off the street, there's a great place to do it, and they're doing good. They're doing community work, and they're doing good things and enjoying it at the same time. I have a couple of questions. One was I got an email this morning regarding the mill stack, and I understand from the town manager that the stack is coming down on Wednesday.
Starting, expect it to start to come down tomorrow. If all goes well with the setup today, then it would start tomorrow. It's going to be done mechanically with a crane, and there's some platforms to be set up in that. It's a careful process, and it'll go top down. People expected, I think, originally maybe it would be an explosion of some sort, an implosion, but that's not the case. So they expect that work should commence tomorrow, but it will carry out through the week. It won't be a short process. So over the course of the week, it will be taken down, and it'll give everybody an opportunity, if they so choose, to go down for public viewing and see that process happening.
The person who contacted me this morning was Wayne Lynch, and Wayne said it would be nice, and I agree with him, to have a GPS coordinate. It's probably not going to be hard to find it anyway, because it's such a huge structure that you're going to know what the GPS is. But maybe in future, having something around that, like some memorial, not memorial, but some kind of marking, and even maybe a light, as we go forward now in our tourism strategies and different things with the riverfront, maybe having a light there that will go into the sky, because this is a landmark as you look down and see this stack there. So, there's a lot of people interested when it's going down, what's going to happen to the bricks and things like that, right? So,
well, as you're aware, of course, the bricks, we've asked and been granted access to the bricks that are salvageable. We hope, because of the process they are using, that there should be a lot of bricks salvageable. So our plan is to be on site when we're allowed to do so, and gather the brick and put it away in a safe place so that we can utilize it in the future towards our tourism strategy. Or, as you mentioned, we've talked about it in this chamber several times, what goes on down there in future development. I think everybody agrees it's important to remember our history, and to be doing that through monuments or statues, or using the brick for some sort of wall or structure, are all great ideas, and I think something that this council wants to pursue.
yes. Actually, I said it was Wayne Lynch. I think it was Chad Haggett who had actually referred that to me. The one that Mr. Lynch had referred to me was he would like to be brought up in the chamber and at a meeting maybe regarding Gordon Pinsent. And as our famous son is getting older and aging, that maybe as a chamber or as a council, we should look at maybe having a Gordon Pinsent Day or some kind of celebration. I know we have a Gordon Pinsent Arts and Culture. It's named after him, but maybe we should take it for an extra step forward and do some questioning of what if we want to have a Gordon Pinsent Day or a dinner in his honor, or honoring the famous son. So I said that I would probably refer it to our entertainment committee or our Parks and Rec. Or I'm not looking at the entertainment committee or anything like that right now, but I thought it was a good idea. And there's a lot of people around town that have said they are interested in pursuing that further. I also have here just a notification of a coffee break, a business coffee break being sponsored by CBDC, BDC, and the town of Grand Falls-Windsor. And it's going to be on October 20th here at the
No,
on
at
High
Chatty
Street.
or at the
Daily Grind here between 9:30 and 11. Free coffee and chat with community leaders, business leaders. There will be some people from council that can be there. It's a great opportunity to find out what's going on, to network, and come alone or invite a friend, whatever. And it's at the Daily Grind, October the 20th, which is Thursday. And that's also Small Business Week, so the three partners will be sponsoring the coffee break that morning there. And Small Business Week is really, we're always looking for, in this town, people are always looking for economic development and big business, and we're always looking for that silver bullet of what industry can we get into the town or the region to bring good paying jobs and trades jobs and that sort of thing. But I think what people have to realize that it's really small business that runs most towns, most cities, most communities. And unless you have, mining or some industry or major manufacturing, And you have that as both as a tax base and as an employment base, that's great. But for the most part, it's the small businesses, the small entrepreneurs. Also, our economic development person wanted me to read this out, that this is a list of businesses that have opened this year as of today. And in 2016, we have had 13 commercial businesses open, 22 home-based businesses, for a total of 35. Versus 2015, we had 7 commercials versus 13 this year, and only 4 home-based last year versus 22 this year. So we are ahead of the game. More people are realizing small business is definitely an alternative to if you are retired, or if you just don't want to move away from home, or maybe you have an expertise and you want to add on to what you're already doing, or you want to supplement wages or whatever. Small business is certainly the way to go. And with the sponsorship of not only our local CBDC and BDC, there's also other avenues. Enloe, as Councillor Cody Davis had said, is there. The Women's Centre is there. The government, BIC, BTRCD. There's all kinds of groups out there that people can reach out to in small business for a help up rather than just a freebie, right? And I think I had several questions regarding the roundabout, and I guess I answered in error because my question to engineering several weeks ago was the mound of gravel that's in the middle of the roundabout, and I said that would be removed. It was just there because it wasn't finished. But I understand now that the mound is still there because I cannot see through it, and it's finished, the concrete's finished. So maybe the Director of Engineering would like to comment on that, because some of us can't understand why it's there or the purpose of it, or so I'll leave it to you.
Yeah. Excuse me. In the past, modern roundabouts were used without the mound in the centre, but the trend in engineering in Canada and the US is to have this mound. And the reason for it is prevent distraction to drivers as you approach the roundabout. You're not distracted by traffic across from you. You're concentrating on pedestrians close by and by the adjacent traffic next to you. Outside of that, it also gives an opportunity to provide a green area rather than have this concrete median or asphalt median in the middle. You've got a green area, which I think here in Grand Falls-Windsor will complement the Rotary Park that's in the area as well.
And so that mound of gravel, I guess, is going to be sodded, and there'll be trees and shrubs and some other greenery in that area, so it won't be...
In other areas, they use artwork or
Right.
anything like that, or a big welcome sign to the community or whatnot, right? So,
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. And is that it for your other business, Councilor Bartlett?
Yes, thank
Good.
you.
Okay. Councilor Pinson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to congratulate Jeff. We congratulate his back. Must be pretty sore now from all the smacks in the back of the back. He's welcome to his first as town manager. But one fella must be feeling lonely and lost and forgotten about, and that's our new Director of Engineering, Mr. Nelson Chapman over there, who hasn't got smacks on the back that he probably truly deserves. But welcome to your first meeting, sir, and since I've been here for 3 years, you're different, you're different. So things are changing. But welcome aboard. I know you'll do a great job, and I have all the faith in the world in you. The Syrian family, I heard what Councillor Moore said. I have to commend him on his efforts, selling books and everything else, and doing something that's truly, truly humanitarian. And so I mean, to you and your wife, Lillian, I know you've worked tirelessly, and I look forward to them coming in here and meeting them. And this translation app.
It's amazing.
Yeah, no doubt, but I can see these Syrian families with a Syrian accent speaking Newfoundland. I can just use Newfoundland. It's going to be wonderful. They haven't perfected that yet, I don't think. They haven't gotten that far. Remind everybody about the Seniors Fair that's coming up, as Councillor Cody Davis said. I was going to mention the berm and the roundabout. Deputy Mayor Finn, we were looking around. By the way, I was going to say both of us looked at the new Quarter-Rye Brook building that we went and had a peek at. That is coming on very quickly and very nicely, I must say. and it is coming along very, very well, and sort of we were out looking around the town, as we sometimes do, and we sometimes run into each other, and he told me about the berm and the fact that it stops lights, with people approaching you also, there's lights, I believe, so you're not blinded by headlights, which I think I can appreciate. So, yeah, it's going, like I say, it's be done soon, and all the controversy with that, I'm not even going to go into it. But anyway, we'll move on with that. The mill destruction is coming. I remind residents, opportunities. I mean, we have a gold mine going through our river, going through our town, which is the Exploits River. And, you know, as we go through with this, as we start to move forward, the mill comes down. As heartbreaking as it is for many, me included, we have to move on. And the opportunities for tourism are going to be immense, and we're going to be looking for the residents in the town to sort of come forward with this. And, some people talk about Grand Falls House. Grand Falls House Properties, as I prefer to call it, is going to be part of that whole riverfront development. So we look forward to that tourism. And if anybody just go outside the town a couple hours and Twillingate and the Northern Peninsula, see what tourism can do economically for any town. And it's absolutely astounding what it's done for towns of Twillingate and Grossmore Park and things like that. So we look forward. People can cry about this and that, but you know, there's opportunities going forward. So let's move on with that. Commend the cadets. Once again, I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but the cadets, I've always said I've always been a big fan of the cadets. And just Cadet Week, my son was there tonight, and trying not to make eye contact with me, but I'm proud of him. We're both proud of we're proud of both of my sons, and the fact that he's gone into cadets, and you can see the social, even the social, but you know, people talk about discipline and fun and everything else, but also the social aspect of it, and getting to know friends and camps and all the things that I like. Queen Street Dinner Theater was mentioned by the Christmas show. Myself and Councillor Cody Davis, who's on the board of directors. In 2017 is going to be the 20th year for the Queen Street Dinner Theater. Already, where did the time go? That's astounding, isn't it? So we're looking at planning some new things, and so anybody who has any ideas for the dinner theater, regards to shows or something special that we could do to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the dinner theater, by all means, just let us know. I have to reiterate as well about the food bank. It's heartbreaking to see that people need it as much as they do. And you know, some people talk about Muskrat Falls and going to double electricity. Well, food has doubled in the last 5 to 6 years, and it's not a laughing matter. It really isn't. And so you know, food banks are needed more and more as we go on. And finally, as they all say, thank God for it. Today I heard on the radio, and you heard me talking the last little while, I've done it a few times now, talking about the Canada Pension Plan. And the Canada Pension Plan, making the Canada Pension Plan a livable wage, which, you know, to me, and while I was working, you know, as a local president and went to all the conventions and everything else and listened to the Canadian Labour Congress, and people, you know, really pushing this, finally we're starting to see some inroads. I don't know if you heard it on the news today. 9 provinces now are backing the legislation that the Prime Minister is promising to bring in the next couple of months to hopefully make the Canada Pension Plan a livable wage. And this is obviously going to help many, many seniors in our town as well. Bring them out of poverty, most of them, which is going to be, and the benefit of that, of course, is to the economy. It pumps, they get to come out of poverty. What are they going to do with the money they get? They're going to spend it. They're going to spend it in our communities, everything else. So I think this is absolutely wonderful for the economy itself. And of course, I hear workers, and I know some small business people are saying, yeah, we're going to have to pay higher rates, and the workers are going to have to pay higher rates. But I just tell my, you know, when small business people say that to me, I say, yeah, but hold on. As a small business person myself, who can't afford to have a private pension plan, having a Canada pension plan that's a livable wage is a benefit for employers as well, because now they can compete for employees because they know at the end of the rainbow there is going to be something they can live on. So I commend the government, both the provincial and federal government, as they move forward with this. And I don't know how many people heard this today, so I was really pleased to hear it that finally 9 provinces now. So there's a couple of holdout provinces in that they're still trying to make their way. But this, I think, is finally, we'll see the Canada Pension Plan come to be something that is going to be sustainable, obviously be sustainable as a well-run pension plan. But I'm kind of thinking for Grand Falls-Windsor, just as us, I mean, all the seniors out there, they're going to, all of a sudden, they're going to see a livable wage. So I think that's going to be good for the province, good for everyone.
Did you give any indication, Councillor Pinson, on a timeline of when that legislation?
They're going to introduce the legislation in the fall, this fall. So it's going to happen very soon, probably within November or December. They said it's going to. That's what I was saying. course, some opposition to this. Big business will probably be opposition to this, Bay Street and Wall Street, who are, looking for, massive investments. But, people who have the money are going to invest. It's just the way it is. It's for the people, the common Joe, who is not in a private pension plan, who doesn't have the ability to put away $13 or $15 or $20,000 a year for the pensions. I mean, it's for the people that are working every day, and for right now, for the seniors that are below the poverty line, it's going to be, hopefully, and I really hope pushed our local, our provincial, and our federal counterparts to push this legislation through, and don't shortchange it, as happened in the past. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Councillor Pinson. Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few items this evening. First of all, some residents have contacted me with a number of streetlights that are out around town, and I've noticed it too. There's a lot of dark areas. So I'd ask the town manager, who's responsible for alerting Newfoundland Power to that, the residents or us?
We know about that. Usually in the winter when we get our shift from the town, they will make notes of any lights that are out there working through the night. But other than that, our staff pass them on to us. We will notify Newfoundland Power, but the resident can do the same online. You can there's a phone number that is available.
Okay.
So they can do it themselves, give the address, and it will be taken care of, or they can certainly call us and we'll
But I've noticed it too, and it's odd, but there seems to be more than normal light
Well, we
streets
don't
out there.
necessarily get quick responses to the
That's
Deputy Mayor
unfortunate,
Finn.
but-
I don't mind just commenting on it because I spent a bit of
Got some
time at it.
experience in this, I think.
Yeah, and the commitment from Light and Power, their commitment is that they will fix the light within 2 weeks, is what was communicated to me, once it's reported to them in their system. They have an online system where you can go in and register, you put your name in to comment. You do want information like a civic address, where it's located, some description. And some all polls are supposed to have a number on them. So like if you can write the number down and put that in, they'll go by that poll identifier. So like that's the easiest way to do it. As the town manager said, our staff will cycle through town and try to identify these polls ourselves and do some self-reporting as a municipality, because we do pay for 500, 600, I think it's about 500, isn't it?
For streetlights, things around 400, I think, for streetlights.
Yeah, okay, 400,000? I thought it was 5. 400,000 for streetlights across the town, so we expect them to work. And so when they're not working, if they're working or not working, we're still paying the same amount. So that's why we encourage people to tell us what's not working, report it themselves, which is the easiest way. Then there's not less people involved in the repair. So that's the easiest way, but they can also call town and we'll do reporting for them.
What it is right now is that the evenings are shorter, so people are still active at 7 o'clock in the evening. So usually during the summer it's 10, so it's not so noticeable, but now it's starting to be visible again, so we'll address those concerns.
Well, certainly, and to reiterate, Deputy Mayor Finn's, that we're paying $400,000 a year for him. We expect him to be working. It seems like there's lots now. Also, Mr. Mayor, myself and the Director of Parks Recreation had another Santa Claus committee meeting, Santa Claus Day Parade committee meeting. Rather, and plans are progressing well. I'd like to let everybody know that the Santa Claus Parade will be as big and as good as last year's and the previous years, certainly with the unfortunate demise of the Lions Club, but the committee is looking at making sure that's a great day for all the citizens of Grand Falls-Windsor. I'd like to mention Des Hines, who was on the audio there tonight, or cameras, is a member of that committee. Rogers Television owned Des Hines is a member of that committee too. So thanks, Des, for all your assistance there with that, buddy.
Do you have a date, Councillor Brown, for the parade?
Do we
At
have
this
a
point?
date? December?
First Saturday in December.
There you go. First Saturday in December, Mr. Mayor. And that'd be well advertised and
We actually had a call today at the town hall looking for the date of the Santa Claus parade, so I'm glad you brought that up.
well, and Councillor or Director of Parks and Recreation, rather, Mr. Rentals has had a few calls himself and people wondering about it. So there is a nice bit of interest, and that parade certainly grew, certainly in leaps and bounds over the last 10 years or so. So it's nice that the volunteer committee is keeping that going along with the Director of Parks and Recreation's assistance there. December 3rd. I'd like to let everybody know the Santa Claus Parade will take place this year. Saturday morning pass, I got a chance to go down and visit with the Downtown Dash, the Exploits Valley Road Runners Club sponsored a race downtown this past Saturday. We had 42 runners registered. Certainly a great event. The race took in most of downtown in this downtown area here in Grand Falls-Windsor, but it's nice to see we got the Senior Cup race, but it's nice to see a few more. I would tell the Director of Parks and Recreation, who's also with the Exploits Valley Road Runners Club. So we'd actually like to see a few more races on throughout the summer. I know back in the 70s, when I was growing up here in town, that there was a race every second Sunday, and well-attended races. So it's certainly a sport that got a lot of potential for growth here in Grand Falls, Windsor. And finally, Mr. Mayor, I'd also like to congratulate Jeff Sanders on his promotion as town manager. Jeff, I've known Jeff since I was a young teenager at least, and there'll be no doubt that his work ethic will be a benefit to us all here on council. And I'd like to also congratulate Nelson Chapman as the new Director of Engineering and Works. And Nelson, we'll get all the confidence in you too, buddy, that you'll do a great job there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Brown. You got something else, Councillor Bartley? Yeah?
Just want to make one comment, and I forgot to make the last time, and I don't know if we formally recognized our transcontinental new reporter. Maybe you'd like to...
I can't remember. No, I remember his name.
He's an easy name to remember.
Welcome to Patrick Murphy. Patrick, sorry if I neglected to do that, buddy. We've met already several times. I'm sure we'll speak a lot more in the future. So welcome to Chamber. Thanks for coming out and covering as well. We do appreciate to see the media out to cover our meetings, and I know you can get a copy of the minutes and that after if you so choose. But being here is much appreciated, and it's nice to see you. So thanks for pointing that out, Councillor Bartlett. No. That's right. Okay, so I just got a couple of quick things there before we clue up. Again, the food bank, just to say again what's already been said. You know, if you can give. The local food bank is open, I think, Monday afternoons and Thursday afternoons at the location across from the bowling alley, underneath Smith's, or what's the furniture place called out there? Isn't it across from the bowling alley parking lot, underneath the Mattress World, or maybe Surplus Furniture, across from the bowling alley. You'll find it. And also, I should mention that Salvation Army does operate a food bank as well, and Jamie Anstey and them do a fine job there, and theirs is located on Main Street in the old library building. So if you wanted to make a donation, you could also do so there and have the same impact. Our town staff did have our own food drive over the last couple of weeks of September. It went very well, so thanks to the staff who donated, and we dropped off our donations, I believe, just yesterday. So thanks for that. And of course this year in the spring I was urged by a young Beaver scout to do a food drive, Jack Kelly Brinston, and it worked out quite well in the town hall lobby, and we will be doing the same thing again next year in the first couple of weeks of March. But as Councillor Cody Davis said, it's not just a Thanksgiving thing, it's not just a certain time of year, it's all year round. So if you can do so, please give. The only other thing I got here is congratulations to, once again, accolades for our fire department. The Grand Falls-Windsor Fire Department were named Muscular Dystrophy Fire Department of the Year for Atlantic Canada. So great job by them, and they do a great job in whatever they do, and we've talked about it many times. But again, they're being recognized for their fundraising efforts, particularly I think the truck pull event that they did back in July, I believe, at the parking lot there, at the TRA parking lot on Hardy Avenue. And once again, it was a great event, lots of participants, and they raised a good load of cash for that and donated to muscular dystrophy. So good on them, and once again, we thank them for all that they do. With that, I don't have anything else. I don't know if there's any other comment. If not, I'll look for a motion to adjourn. Councillor Cody Davis, seconded. Councillor Pinson, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. We'll see you next time.